So, Respawn and Electronic Arts completely blindsided the community yesterday with the release of Apex Legends, a Titanfall-inspired Battle Royale game. Really, it was a weird release considering that nobody outside of a limited press demo which occurred earlier in the week even knew this game was in development until it randomly popped up on online distributors yesterday. Now, with a few hours of gameplay under my belt, I want to give my initial impressions of Apex, so let's go. Apex Legends is a class-based Battle Royale game that takes place in the Titanfall universe. The latter half of that sentence caused a lot of people to initially be upset and confused due to limited knowledge of what the game actually was because, it wasn't even mentioned publicly until a couple days ago. This game is not Titanfall 3, and it isn't even really supposed to be anything close to it. It takes place in the same world and has a lot of the same weapons and looks extremely similar to the Titanfall franchise, but it's more of a spin-off than a successor. The game dropped the iconic Titans and wall running that dominated its parents, but still kept a similar style of movement and gunplay. Apex plays almost exactly like Titanfall, except maybe a little tighter and with a longer time to kill considering the addition of body shields and helmets. Most of the major gameplay elements work in the exact same way as they do in literally every other Battle Royale game. You start in a vehicle, you drop somewhere on a large map, pick up weapons, there are attachments on them, grab some armor, and then fight with everybody else on the map as the circle closes in on you. However, there's three major deviations from the standard formula that make Apex different. First, instead of following the bare bones setup like PUBG and Fortnite, there's a set of 8 characters with different abilities that give them a specific role in your squad, similar to games like Paladins and Realm Royale, which I've never really played. Second, the game is limited to 60 players on the map with squads of 3 rather than the 80 in Blackout or 100 players in most others with squads of 4. Also to note, there's currently no duo or solo gameplay mode, but this is day 2 of development, so that could always change. And finally, deaths are not permanent. If a squad mate gets killed before you can revive them, you can always just take their banner off their dead body and bring them back at a respawn point. They're minor changes to the formula, but enough to keep Apex from being dismissed as a clone. There's also a microtransaction system in the game, which is a given since Apex is free to play and also a AAA game developed in 2019. Apparently, the system and game itself was birthed and designed from Respawn and not EA, so it's hard to dismiss it as another cash grab. As far as microtransactions go, this game is at least somewhat ethical. Coins are sold at roughly $10 for each 1,000 with a slight bonus for larger quantities. The only thing you can buy in the store are weapon skins, which are actually really expensive, running about $18 for a single skin, and legends, which run about $7.50 each. However, the legends can be unlocked through their regular gameplay, but take a while to unlock. They require 12,000 of the in-game base currency, and in my 3 to 4 hours of playing, I only earned about 3,000, but your mileage may vary. With that being said, the legends behind the soft paywall don't really appear to provide an advantage, but it is a little concerning and should be monitored as new ones are introduced. Also, there's plans to add battle passes, which kind of act like Fortnite's battle passes, giving out extra cosmetics and eventually legends with each new season, so overall, Apex isn't really pay to win and has a somewhat fair microtransaction system, but the new legends should probably be evaluated as they're introduced. As for graphics, they're okay, I guess. I just got an upgrade, so I'm maxing out the game at 1440p, and while it looks good, it's not on the bleeding edge of technology. It's a DX11 game based off the Titanfall engine, which is based off the Source 2 engine, and the Source engine, at least in modern times, isn't really well known for being at the forefront of computer graphics. The art style is very similar to Titanfall and inherits the generally meh aesthetic of the series. The only thing I really like are the dynamic banners around the map, which show things like the current kill leader because it gives Apex a sporty vibe, but that's the only really standout thing I saw. The characters are pretty much the same, and while people have said they are reminiscent of Borderlands, I just really don't see it. Honestly, Apex characters are forgettable and will probably never reach the notoriety of Team Fortress 2 or Overwatch, but then again, those series had memorable characters because they were a foundational piece in those games' marketing, and Apex didn't really have marketing at all. The gameplay mechanics are where Apex really starts to shine. Honestly, I've never really been that much of a fan of Battle Royale games, but Apex actually impressed me. Most of my experience has been in PUBG, which is honestly a fucking mess most of the time, so I was surprised to see the game run so smoothly. It performs well, and for a day 1 release, it's pretty devoid of game-breaking bugs or annoying bugs. I had a couple initial crashes, but honestly, I can't say that they were caused by Apex itself because I had the same issues with Battlefield earlier in the day, so it's either my setup or most likely Origin. The menu and interaction system is probably the best I've used in any game with an inventory. Attachments can be applied and swapped from the ground without having to enter a menu. It's also easy to compare the currently equipped attachment or wearable with whatever's on the ground. The menu system itself is easy to navigate and works intuitively. Grenades and usable equipment can be selected through a weapon wheel, removing the need for chaining swaps or entering an actual menu. Picking up an actual item shows the inventory space available, which is simplified down to 8 unique spots with a specific capacity per item. The class-specific mechanics are easy to use, and grenades come with an indicator showing where you're going to throw them. Overall, Apex did a good job of including its features without it becoming cumbersome or overly complicated, and the entire user experience is honestly one of my favorites. One of the major additions Apex added to the genre was the pinging system, which allows you to broadcast player locations, items, and general ideas as to where to move and what to do with the rest of your squad without needing to use a mic. This is a complete game changer for random online play because many of the people that I've played with don't really have a mic, currently myself included, and it makes it easy to coordinate a squad without having to fall back on text chat. Plus, if you're in a squad, it's sometimes useful to ping items and players along with an actual call out because some people are just really bad at describing where things are. I haven't played with a squad on Apex yet, but I do remember trying to play PUBG with friends and getting confused as to where people were calling things out because they would say like, hey, there's a vest over here, and just immediately move to the next room or building, and I'd have to immediately go back and backtrack with them to find whatever they're talking about. Honestly, it makes the random squads, which are currently the only option for solo play, actually playable, and I found myself a lot less frustrated with my teams. As for gunplay, Apex pretty much feels exactly like Titanfall, but with a little bit longer time to kill. It keeps a generally fast-paced game, and while the weapons appear to have some sort of bullet drop mechanic, they have enough velocity behind them that it's hardly noticeable. Most of the weapons feel viable in the correct situations, except for maybe the semi-auto pistol, and nothing really feels too overpowered or underpowered. Even with some of the worst weapons, I never really felt vulnerable, except for the circumstances where I was just completely out of their effective range. Even then, with the sliding mechanics and speed of the game, the distances aren't really that hard to make up anyway. Really, the style of gameplay has always been present in Respawn's games, dating all the way back to when most of the staff was working at Infinity Ward. Even looking at Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2, you can see where they compromise a lot of realism to favor fast-paced and engaging gameplay. Apex features light ammo, heavy ammo, shotguns, and energy weapons, each with their own strengths and characteristics. Light ammo weapons seem to favor close-range engagement, while heavier ammo deals more damage at a far range. Shotguns are incredibly powerful at close range, and a charged Peacekeeper can even do surprisingly well at medium range. Energy weapons are pretty average from my limited use. I found that while I've had a couple favorite weapons, there isn't really a weapon choice that I'm particularly unhappy with. Body armor is fairly balanced, and even the best armor doesn't really make you invincible. I also enjoy that it's a shield system similar to Fortnite rather than having a one and done armor system like PUBG. It strikes a nice balance between having the ability to spam shields and take enemies and being completely screwed after a single firefight. The character system is exceedingly okay. We talked about their personalities being pretty bland, but the actual abilities they have can sometimes be useful. Lifeline can throw down a healing drone or call in a care package with some health. Pathfinder can throw the occasional zipline for your team. Bloodhound can track enemies and reveal maps. All of those are extremely useful, but they all aren't created equal. Mirage's portals I don't think ever really became useful for me. Gibraltar's body armor lets you take a couple hits, but after playing against him, I don't feel like it really changed much. I don't really see one legend coming out as overpowered in its current state, and hopefully that stays the same when the new ones come out, especially when they have to justify it paying actual money for them. Overall, I'd say Apex Legends looks pretty good in its current state. It seems like in terms of design, Vince Impella has King Midas's ass shitting out gold wherever he goes. Apex is well balanced, engaging, fun, and honestly my favorite Battle Royale out right now. I'm impressed with Respawn's ability to blindly drop such a clean, stable game without any hype around it. I'm glad to see them take the extra time and come out with something good rather than hyping up another early access or beta Royale game that's completely broken for months on end. Hopefully they work to keep Apex balanced as they add more legends and resist the urge to convert the game into a completely pay-to-win format. The mechanics are clean and intuitive, and everything pretty much works, and the gameplay is fast-paced and engaging. Honestly, the game is free, so if you have space, give it a try. What do you guys think about it? Leave a comment below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to my channel for more reviews and little half reviews like this. I think I might do some more Apex videos in the future, so stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later. Peace.